Deep within the heart of the emerald jungle, where sunlight fell in dappled patterns upon the mossy floor, a lioness found a secluded clearing to bring new life into the world. With her last ounce of strength, she gave birth to a small, golden-furred cub, its eyes still sealed shut, mewling softly for warmth. But fate, in its cruel design, had other plans. The lioness, weakened by a recent injury from a territorial battle, breathed her last moments later. Nuzzling her newborn once before stillness took her. Her great heart ceased to beat just as the first cries of her son touched the air. It was at this precise moment of profound silence that a soft, bleating sound approached. A flock of sheep, led by a cautious old ram named Sheru, was migrating through a narrow jungle path to reach greener highlands. They stumbled upon the still form of the lioness and the squirming, confused cub. A lost kitten, bleated a young Away, her voice filled with naive pity. "No," murmured Sheru, his old eyes narrowing. "Look at the paws. That is, no, kitten." But the cub, cold and desperate, instinctively crawled toward the warmth and sound of the flock. A gentle-hearted Away named Nari bent down and sniffed the tiny creature. Motherly instinct overrode caution. "He will die alone," she said softly. "The jungle shows no mercy." And so, against Beru's quiet the lion cub was nudged into the center of the flock. Surrounded by the smell of wool and grass, the sounds of bleats replacing the roars he was never destined to hear from his mother. The flock settled not in the jungle, but in a wide-open grassland at the jungle's edge. The cub, whom they named Sheru. A gentle irony, for it meant little lion in the old tongue grew up, believing he was simply a defective sheep. His fur was wrong smooth and golden, not thick and white. He was clumsier, larger pawed, and his voice was a strange mule growl, not a bleat. He tried with all his being to fit in. He learned to nibble on tender grass, though it gave him no real strength and often upset his stomach. He learned to huddle with the others during storms, to run in a bleeding, panicked mass when a shadow passed overhead, be it a hawk or just a cloud. It was Moked sometimes feared, but mostly pitied. "Poor Sheru," the sheep would say. "He tries so hard to be one of us." Sheru internalized their worldview entirely. He believed he was weak, timid, meant to follow. He saw his own reflection once in a still pond, but dismissed it. "I am just an ugly sheep," he thought, turning away from the majestic, broad-faced creature looking back. The jungle's mighty calls at night terrified him, and he would bury his head in Nari's wool, shaking. His true nature was buried under layers of learned fear and false identity. Yes, bus it. Sheru was now a young lion in body muscular, with the beginning of a mane butt in spirit. He was still a trembling sheep. The flock had grown used to him, his oddities becoming part of the landscape. One afternoon, while grazing near the jungle's fringe, a pair of ancient, wise eyes observed them from a rocky Raja, an old lion whose mane was silvered with age and whose flanks bore the scars of 100 battles, watched the scene with disbelief. A young lion, in its prime, walking with a stilted, grazing gait, head down among sheep. His royal heart grieved. "This is an abomination," Raja rumbled to himself. "A king living as a beggar, a son believing it is a candle." He decided to intervene, not with aggression toward the youth, but with a shocking truth. Raja descended from his perch with a silent grace. He did not roar, not yet. He simply walked into the open, a vision of golden power and silent authority. The sheep saw him first. A wave of pure primal terror swept through them. A chorus of panicked bleats erupted, and they scattered like dust in the wind. Sheru, feeling their fear as his own, immediately turned to flee with them, his large body moving in an awkward, galloping mimicry of their sprint. But Raja moved like lightning. In 3 great bounds, he cut Sheru off, placing his massive body in the young lion's path. Sheru collapsed, trembling uncontrollably, pressing himself to the ground in a posture of submission he'd learned from the flock. "Please," he cried, his voice a strained whimper. "Do not eat me. I am just a sheep. I am no one. Let me go with my herd." Raja felt a pang of deep sorrow. He approached slowly, his expression not of anger, but of immense pity. "Little brother," his voice was a low, vibrating thunder. "You are not a sheep. And this," he gestured with his head at the fleeing flock, "is not your herd." "You are wrong," Sheru wept. "I eat grass. I fear the wind. I am one of them." "Come," said Raja, his tone leaving no room for argument. With a gentle but firm nudge of his head, he guided the resisting young lion toward a nearby river, its surface as clear and calm as a mirror. "Look," commanded Raja, standing beside him. Sheru, afraid to disobey the mighty beast, glanced fearfully into the water. He saw 2 faces. One was old, regal, and fierce. The other was like the old one, golden, broad, with intense eyes and the beginnings of a proud mane. He saw powerful shoulders, lethal paws. He looked at Raja, then back at the water, then at his own body. A crack formed in the prison of his mind. The reflection did not lie. It showed no wool, no meek eyes. It showed a lion. "That is me," Sheru whispered, the words foreign on his tongue. "That is us," Raja affirmed. "You are not a grass eater. You are not a follower. You are a king. You carry the heart of the jungle within you. You have been listening to the bleating of sheep so long, you forgot the song of your own soul." A strange sensation began in Sheru's chest, a heat, a vibration, a pressure building from a place he never knew existed. It was memory in the blood, truth in the bone. He opened his mouth, and what emerged was not a bleat or a whimper. It was a sound that started deep within, a rumble that grew into a cough, then a growl, and finally it erupted airy. "Oh, oh, oh, ah, 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 ah. I-A-R-A, A-R-A-R. I." The sound tore through the air, shaking leaves from trees, silencing birds, echoing off distant cliffs. It was powerful, raw, and true. Sheru felt the roar vibrate through his entire being. It felt like coming home. It felt like truth. The fear melted away, replaced by a surge of electric power and a clarity so sharp it was dizzying. Raji's eyes gleamed with pride. "Now, you remember? Now you were born." Sheru stood tall for the first time. His posture changed. The cowering slump vanished, replaced by a proud, balanced stance. He looked at the distant speck of his flock, now gone. He felt no anger toward them, only gratitude to Nari for her kindness, and a profound understanding. They had sheltered a king, but they could only teach him to be a sheep. The cage was never physical. It was built in his mind, brick by brick, from their words and his belief in them. "Who am I?" Sheru asked, his new voice rich and strong. "You are Sheru," Raja said, "but not the Sheru they named. You are Sheru, son of the jungle, heir to the throne of your own spirit. Your life as a sheep was not. Your reality it was a story you believed. Today, the story changes. This tale carries a profound message for us all. We are often the lion cub raised among sheep. From childhood, society, doubters, past failures, and our own fears whisper to us, eat grass, stay small, run with the herd. You are not enough. We internalize these bleats until we believe we are the sheep. Weak, meant only to follow and graze on the scraps of life. We look in the mirror but see only the false identity, the ugly sheep, ignoring the king staring back. We run from shadows, tremble at challenges, and beg to be left in our comfortable pasture of mediocrity. But Ertis, your true nature is not defined by the flock you found yourself in. Your power is not negated because you've never used it. The roar is still within you, waiting for the moment of recognition. It takes one brave look at your own reflection, your dreams, your passions, your inner strength, and one decision to reject the borrowed identity. Shake off the false weakness. The world may have told you to be quiet, to fit in, to graze when you are built to reign, but you are the lion. Your mind is the only cage. Break free. discover your potential, embrace your strength, and when you do, you will finally release the roar that has been silent for too long, a roar that will shake the foundations of your old life and announce the birth of your true, powerful self. Did this story remind you of your own inner lion? Like, share, and subscribe to True Wisdom Tales. For more stories that awaken your strength, ring the bell so you never miss when the next tale of truth arrives. Remember, your roar is a gift to the world. Don't silence it. Short summary, message of the story. A lion is born a king, even if he grows up among sheep. When you forget who you are, the world will decide it for you. But the moment you discover your true identity, you will roar, and the world will know your real power.